Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. It's The Search. And we're actually doing our first podcast, which is slightly terrifying, but we're all for it. You'll see I'm on my own. My co-host, the lovely Nikki Taylor, is actually having a sabbatical, which I cannot think of a worse time of the year to have one. But we're all here as a supportive employer, and making sure she's got all the time that she needs to complete her PhD. So next time we see her, she'll be Dr. Nikki. So we're very much looking forward to that. So why today, and why are we doing the podcast? Well, on the 19th of January 2026, if you're on time watching or listening to this, it's going to be Blue Monday. Now, that can sometimes feel like it's Christmas if you're a recruiter, and sometimes it can feel like maybe not the best day if you are an employer or somebody who's feeling a little bit fed up. Because is Blue Monday a real thing? Well, unfortunately, I think it is and it isn't. It was a thing that was thought up by Sky Travel. Way back in the early parts of the millennium, I think really to promote holidays, which people were feeling at their worst and thinking, yeah, at least I need to have something to plan ahead. Whereas if we think about it from a recruitment perspective, this is a point where people are at their lowest after they've had the festive period. Usually your credit cards hit. You've got paid slightly early in December and you're eking your way towards the end of January. The weather's terrible, and you've probably got still a little bit of that festive bloat and overindulgence that you're trying to work out your system. So that is kind of the history of Blue Monday. But let me do a quick intro to myself, a quick intro to our organisation, and just a really quick couple of minutes on what you can expect from all of our YouTubes. And of course, those of you who have subscribed to our podcast will know what to expect from our podcasts. So I'm Julie Greenwood. I am the chief exec of a recruitment company called Gaia Recruitment. We specialise in healthcare recruitment, and we only work on permanent roles. We're based here in sunny, I would love to say it's sunny London, but it really is not sunny London today. It's quite miserable and dark, and very January. January is Januarying today. So we are here, as I say, in London. And what can you expect from our little videos? Well, thankfully, it's not always going to be me. We're going to be introducing some of our marketing team who you'll hear today, because me just talking straight to you is not just terribly terrifying, it's kind of terribly boring for everybody. So they're going to be involved. We're going to do some videos. We're going to kind of show you how to present yourself at interview, etc. And we're going to be using that team as well. So for today, what we're going to have is one of our lovely marketing team, our lovely Mary Jane, who is at the end of the table. So if I look like I'm not looking at the camera, it's because I'm actually talking to her. And she's got a couple of questions that really to kind of centre ourselves as why January, why is this a busy time of year, and kind of what to do and what not to do. So MJ, you've got some questions.
Hiya, Julie. Why do you think January hits differently for healthcare professionals?
Great question, MJ. And I think probably a couple of things for me. For those of you who work in hospitality or any role where you are very public facing, I don't think this is unique to healthcare, but certainly when we look at things like bank holidays and working when other people aren't, I think that's one of the real things for healthcare professionals that they find as a stone in their shoe. The other thing is that Christmas and New Year are terribly busy because they're in the middle of winter in the Northern Hemisphere. And so busy for things such as seasonal colds, flus, and other issues, which means our hospitals are slightly busier, our social care is slightly busier. And so you'll find that many of the healthcare professionals will be knee deep in the middle of, one, being away from their family when all their family are together, and two, being knee deep in being the busiest time of year. So I think for me, MJ, that's why I know that it hits that little bit harder.
And could you talk to us about the seduction of a job ad?
Right. So one of the things that can seem absolutely gorgeous this time of the year is looking at your own job, and I think, coming out of that festive bubble, as we said earlier, you can really feel that the gloss is completely off your own job. So I suppose coming back and seeing all the bad rather than all the good, and then you read an amazing job ad that is, all over places like LinkedIn, all over social media, all over, anywhere. If you're trying to, just get a break away from your work, will be new year, new job, and they never job ads, as we've talked about on the podcast, and we'll talk a little bit more on here on YouTube. You've got maybe 200, 300 words and where you're trying to sell a job, and so all those gorgeous adjectives that make it sound wonderful. And of course, we're humans, so those nice words, we start picturing things and we get into our ideal, and sometimes we can over idealize a job, which can make us even more dissatisfied with the one that we're in.
And should people ask themselves if they are genuinely in the wrong job or if it's just January?
Oh, yeah. I think I think the whole nation came back to work 2 weeks ago, at least in the UK, and I know that first Monday, everybody was looking just not their usual sunny, smiley selves. I think that break, and traditionally people will have a 2 week break around the festive period. Uh, they've had a lovely time, and then all the reality of all the work that they've not done for 2 weeks kind of hits them. And I think January is, very, very commonly a difficult month. And if we think about it from just a personal aspect, it's dark. You're getting up and it's dark. You're going home and it's dark. And some people have seasonal affective disorder, and it's a difficult time of the year. And so I do think it can be quite a knee-jerk time for people. They've maybe, as I said earlier, thinking about the worst of their current job, and seeking something A that might not exist, and B, everything sounds wonderful, but the reality of it all might not be the best thing, MJ. So I often do think that January is Januarying.
So, in your opinion, when is the best time to move?
Well, the best time to move is, if we go back to one of our first podcasts we ever did. Please pick us up on Apple and on Spotify. Is around setting your intentions. I think a bad day at work, or an argument with a colleague or a boss is never the right time to do it. I think continually being disaffected can often mean you're not in the right job for you. So when is the right time? Set your intentions around what you want, but equally what you don't want in a role. And I think that's the important time. So if you've had time to reflect, you've had time to be dispassionate. That sounds an awful word for a podcast, but looking at it without emotion and seeing exactly what you do want from a role and you don't want from a role. Looking at your transferable skills, looking at what is out there for your transferable skills, and then taking time, and I think this is really important, taking real time out to review where you are, what you want, and then applying accordingly. Means that there is never an ideal time, but there's always the wrong time. And for me, the wrong time is when you're feeling emotional and a bit hacked off. That's not the right time to do it. I'm not saying I've never done it. I'm just saying I don't think my outcomes were as good as they could have been if I was a little bit more strategic. And I think looking at us for moving into the rest of 2026, what are we seeing as a recruitment company? What we are seeing is two things. We always come into a busy January. That's 100% what we expect. People have had time off. People have been a bit emotional. People have spent time with their loved ones and decided, yep, either this is the right time and I want to go and do something. But one of the big pitfalls that we're experiencing at the moment is people not being careful with how they present themselves. We have a podcast on how to do your CV. I would highly recommend that, again, on Apple and on Spotify. And taking time to update your CV. And what we mean by update your CV is not getting your old CV out and adding your current role in, is to have a good and full review of your CV, how accurate it is, and how you are presenting yourself. Assuming that people know what you do and writing details which do not reflect you in the right way is something that we would really sort of make sure that we are not recommending. And looking at the rest of January and into the rest of 2026, we know that jobs are being slightly more scarce. We know that employers are making a lot more decisions based on their values and your values. What I would recommend is anybody who is looking for a new role, research your employer. Really take time to research your employer, and then look at their values. Understand, is their values something that they just write down because that's an easy job? Are their values something that they live? And can you see their values in action on any of their websites and their social media? That's a really important thing for how we connect as individuals. And equally, if you are going for a job board, and we will talk a little bit more in some of our videos around how to apply on a job board, then try very hard to make sure that all of your information is up to date on that job board and on your CV. I cannot tell you how many times in the last day that my team have had the wrong email, the wrong mobile number, and when we talk to people, oh, that's not the job I'm in now. So please do take time to do that. And from the bottom of my heart, please don't do the spray and the pray. So the spray and the pray is basically applying for every job that you could ever be and just hoping that one of them sticks. I'm here to tell you that does not work, and puts you at a real disadvantage. So this is, as I said, just our quick podcast on Blue Monday. So please be aware, on the 19th of January 2026, if this is you, don't feel alone. We're all there. We're all feeling it. It's that end of festive period, reality of 2026, and don't make any rash decisions. But for us here at Gaia Recruitment, you can find us for loads of tips on all things recruitment, particularly how to do things as a candidate, on our socials, which are, you can find us at Gaia Recruitment on TikTok, also on Instagram, on Facebook, and please do give us a hit up. And of course, apparently on YouTube, you get this thing to subscribe, so please do that too. And also on Apple and Spotify. If you've got any questions, please do come back to us. We'll leave that in the show notes at the bottom. There will be the email address for our producer, which is lovely producer Hannah, which is Hannah G, that's G for golf, at GaiaRecruitment.com. We we love hearing back from you. We love all your hints and your tips, and we are just delighted with any interaction. So please do that. I'm going to sign off now and say thanks ever so much for your attention, and we will catch up with you soon. See you soon. Bye.